What do you think, Jeffrey?
That was amazing.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong having some fun, right?
That was completely amazing. Boy, that first roll, though, there were some faces in there I haven't seen in a long time, Billy. But speaking of seeing faces in a long time, Billy, how are you? I haven't seen you in so long.
I am great. I'm great. I'm glad to be back. And we've already got some people rolling in. So,
good. I see.
How you
all
doing?
Hell grass.
Grasshoppers already rolling in, and we got some others in here. Just a reminder to everybody: if you're on Facebook watching this, Facebook will not let your name come over here into this chat. So just kind of let us know who you are if you want to. You may not want to be associated with us. So,
yeah, especially if they know me.
So welcome everybody to Sasquatch Watch Radio. Of course, we got our great guest here tonight, Jeffrey Thomas. I'm sure, if anybody's got your Facebook page, I am sure that they're aware of what you've been doing lately.
Oh, man. And it's hard not to anymore. That just happened out of nowhere, too. All this time in the world of Bigfootery and just making videos being myself is what makes me worldwide phenomenon. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. I've seen, you recently was on a TV news program.
Yep.
I was impressed. I mean, those guys were really giving you, some kudos and really getting your name out there.
The great thing about it is, the host of the show, Cliff, is actually a good friend of mine in town. So he's been bugging me for months and months and months to come on the show, because he's also the producer of the show. And as you know, trying to fill slots with having a radio show or a television show, he's constantly trying to get, people on the show. And he's like, you've got to come on the show. And I'm like, but I have nothing to sell. And I'm really horrible at selling myself. I could sell yellow snow to an Eskimo, Billy, but when it comes to selling me, I'm just standing there promoting myself. It feels awkward. So
it does. Yes. No, I agree.
Have me back on the show we're going to talk about Bigfoot the next time. They have a segment in an afternoon show where they have, Cliff do my job. And I may do a segment with him actually doing some of my videos, and then may do a segment with him talking about Bigfoot in our area in the CSRA.
That'll be great.
Yeah,
that'll be great.
Excited.
Yeah, some of your little short reels crack me up. There's this one that you did, I don't know, a week or two ago, where this guy, I guess you took his clip, and then he had like this song, this old rock song, done to Transformers.
Yes. So the band Disturbed had come out with a cover tune of Simon and Garfunkel's Sound of Silence. He took an AI program and had it be sung by Optimus Prime and Darth Vader. Now I saw that, and of course Facebook has the ability to remix reels. So I immediately jumped on it because it was one of those reels that Facebook was showing, but it was really on Instagram, and he already had like 1 million views. He was a small video creator like I had at one time been. And so I remixed it, and as of today, I'm at 1.1 million views just on that video alone. In 1 week, I'm at 1.1 million views.
Yeah, that is hilarious. It's amazing, the things that, we're back from the old Blog Talk days where everything was just boring and.
Well, I mean, and I remember the chat from the Blog Talk days. That was the best part of the show because my entry into the world of Bigfoot was Blog Talk. I was looking for people to kind of create a network with. It just so happened that Steve Coles and Abe Del Rio and a picture that I saw at the beginning of your video, Metal Mike Killen and Bob Coyne's radio show, Stacy and I forgot his name. He passed away. But I would end up in the chat, and my goal for that night was to make the host laugh hysterically live on Blog Talk, reading something that I said or something that I asked, and ended up, becoming friends with the host just because of that. Yeah. And here we are some 14 years later. Billy,
yeah, I know.
Since my entry into the world of the Bigfoot community.
I know. It's been such a long time. There's been a lot of changes. So I'm curious, do you know so far, do you know how many reels you have done?
No, I've never actually counted because I started doing a couple originally just, as a goof because I didn't understand them and I was not going to put myself on TikTok, and I am not on TikTok.
Right.
Things I would show like my fish pond, or one of the reels that got really popular was me coming down a slide at the fair to the
Yeah.
Beatles Helter Skelter. And it was really just kind of out of nowhere last year. I had a couple of private gigs coming up, and all of 2022 I took to focus on my health. So I wasn't making videos, I wasn't really online, I wasn't really doing anything Bigfoot related in all of
Right.
2022 because I was focusing on my health. And I had these video projects coming up, and it's not like riding a bike, Billy. It's like
Right.
riding a unicycle. You have to practice to get back into it.
Right.
Facebook had sent me a notification saying, would you like to change your Facebook profile to professional mode? And I was like, sure, I'll do that. I have no clue what that means, but sure, I'll do
Right.
it, because I had given up on all the negativity, all the politics, all the just I focused solely on being humorous in a benign way, and it ended up getting me enough followers to change over to professional mode. And then Facebook comes out and says, would you like to make some reels? We'll pay you a little bit for your reels. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
here comes
Right.
tens of 12s of cents my way. I
Yeah,
can't wait to see my residual check for 24 cents coming up. And so I started making a couple of reels, and this is a year ago. So if you consider like 2 to 3 reels, because I was trying to make anywhere from 2 to 4 reels a week. I always take the weekends off.
Yeah.
And you do that over 52 weeks. It has been a full year.
Yeah.
You're talking about a couple of hundred reels, and it wasn't
Yeah.
very long. I started out doing like dating advice, or I loved the one. It came up today in today's memory suggestion is the word lose. People spell it as loose, and I made a your mom joke out of it.
Right.
And so here we are a year later. It was almost a year this time last year where I saw a meme come up about how Gen Xers, my generation X, are perpetually upset. And so I made a video about it, about everything that we had to endure. We went through, Chernobyl and the hostage crisis and gas shortages and all this stuff. And I started rapid fire listing it out, and it took off. It took off. I woke up the next day and I had 10,000 followers on Facebook. The weird thing about it was, Billy, I've had my Facebook page set up for a long time as the Shadow.
Yeah.
That's the thing I wanted to take off. I wanted my page to take off because that way it's a little bit more anonymous. It's a little bit more hands-off. And it's my own personal page that ends up taking off, because I go from 10,000 followers to 30,000 followers to 60,000. And as of today, I'm at 124,000 followers on my own personal page.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I was talking about it with Cliff Barrickman at the last Hocking Hills conference, and he's like, you have 3 times the amount of followers that I have. I was like, yeah, and you're famous. Who am I?
I have a funny feeling I know who that is. I have a feeling that was JC. All the super nerds. So it's a feeling I got.
Okay.
But
WGBH.
That's right. Yeah. If anybody doesn't know the ongoing joke with that, he was the world's greatest Bigfoot hunter.
Do you remember, Billy, the controversy of 2010, 2011 was the kill or no kill crowd? That was the big controversy.
Yeah.
That was the divide between Bigfooters, is whether or not you would take a specimen or you could prove its existence without taking a specimen.
Right.
Oh,
and I remember doing a whole show on that. Say you're walking through the woods and lo and behold, there's a dead Bigfoot body in the woods. What do you do now?
Right. Yeah. How do you pick up a 600-pound carcass and take it with you? I mean, people can't even carry deer out of the woods, and they only weigh less than 200. And my big argument back in the day was, okay, you're out in the woods with your sidearm or your rifle, and you happen to luck up and you shoot a Bigfoot dead. What do you do then?
Right. Exactly.
Number one, you can't pick up the carcass.
Right.
And then what do you do about the 6 other Sasquatches in the woods that just watched you kill Dad?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And it's like, I remember all the answers. Well, you take the head. Okay. Let's see. Where's my machete? Well, I got this little pocket knife.
Yeah, that might take all day. Clearly, you've never dressed a deer in the woods with a pocket knife.
Oh man, yeah, we had some good times, but you're right. There was a lot of negatives too, but it's probably why we all had to have a break.
And I so admired you for taking yours. I did want to tell you that, when you kind of said, look, I'm stepping away, I'm stepping back, I'm going to focus on life and love and happiness and health and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
I was one of the ones that, everybody was like, maybe just do this. I was just like, no, I get it. Take your break. Just step away. And I'm glad you're back, because you're one of the sane voices in this field of research. You're one of my original friends in this field of research. And with all the new faces coming up, the very self-centered faces coming up. I don't dress deer. They're just fine naked.
You'll have to do a reel on that.
Definitely got to be one of my fans.
Yeah, around that same time frame, if you remember when we had the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, there was that controversy, that went on with, did Bob shoot and kill Pat?
Once every year and a half, that still comes back up.
I know.
It still resurfaces itself. The massacre of Bluff Creek, the massacre that never happened because they can't seem to decipher film artifacts with real life.
Right.
But
it's just crazy.
It is. But you think about, that was the big controversy 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and you look at things today, and it's like,
got a lot more to controversies today.
I tell you what, a lot more. And we won't get into those.
We won't get into those because those are negative.
Those are negative, and I'm not about the negative anymore.
No, me either.
I gotta watch my blood pressure and make sure I'm good and everything. So.
Right.
My wife wants to keep me around for a few more years.
Just a few.
Just a couple.
All right. Well, so I've got to do this. Playing with all this new AI stuff, I'm like a kid with candy.
Oh God.
At this point. So here's what I did was I had AI create you a couple songs.
Oh no.
And we'll start with this one and see what everybody thinks.
8 and 9 under the Georgia moon. He's on the hunt, looking for the truth through the camera, and hand and fire in his eyes. Jeffrey Thomas on the trail, ain't nothing gonna pass him by. Chasing shadows in the deep dark woods, following footprints where no one else would. He's the shadow of man on a quest to uncover the secret, the real mystery.
Now, I played that one first because I like the second one better.
No, I'm not gonna lie, that was awesome. That was truly awesome.
I tell you, AI really has a good voice.
That's amazing that came up with that. Just if you look at my Google footprint, AI has to go and look at my Google footprint. I'm hardly Google worthy, and yet they came up with all that. They even threw shadow in there as well. So that's amazing.
It's just hilarious. So here's the one that I like. This one's good.
In the wildwood of Georgia, there's a man they call Jeffrey Thomas, aka the Shadow. He stands tall with his trusty camera and his hunting gear. He's on a quest, chasing legends, fueled by fear. Chasing shadows in the woods, he's on the hunt. The Bigfoot secrets, the truth he wants to confront. With every step he takes, he's unafraid.
That's a good tune right there.
That's a hit. That's actually a hit. I mean, they tapped into my bio where, you know, I'm not afraid of anything in the woods. I have this, you know, this. Oh man, that's amazing. AI frightens me to death, Billy. I mean, that's.
I tell you, you know, it's funny. Have you ever had it where you'll be talking with somebody about something, say a product, and then 1 minute later your phone is giving you an ad?
Billy, I thought of a product one time. I thought of it. I was sitting in my chair and thought of a product, and an ad rolled by for it. And it's not one of those, it's not like, you know, Salad Shooter or, you know, a Slap Chop. It wasn't anything like that. It was something so obscure, and an ad rolled by for it. Yeah. I hadn't Googled it. I hadn't looked it up. I just thought of it, and it automatically knew.
It gets scary. I'm telling you.
Frightening, but it's also exhilarating to see what they can come up with. I mean, they wrote a whole song about me. That's amazing. Yeah. It reminded me a lot of that song with Abe Del Rio. Abe Del Rio and I, we put together a sizzle reel for one of the producers of Monster Quest. This has been years ago. And they came out with this song called We Are Squatchers. It's so annoying. It's almost art. It's so perfect. I mean, you listen to it and you're like, that's the worst song I've ever heard. And I told him, I said, that's the worst song I've ever heard. Please send it to me. And I still listen to it at the gym, in the car, you name it. And it's just like that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I had to have some fun with that. So I'm probably going to make that. I'm probably going to make it a routine, you know, just because it's just so fun, you know.
But easy to do as well. You're just putting the name of your guest in, and AI creates a song for them.
Well, that, or you can even type, you know, a few things to kind of give it some help.
Yeah.
You know, like Bigfoot researcher in Georgia, and you know, you can give it some help, and it just comes up with the story.
That's just amazing. That's amazing.
Oh my goodness!
I just recently I went to Charleston, South Carolina with a friend of mine. He was putting together a brand new song, and we were working with the lead guitarist from Hootie and the Blowfish. We were at his studio doing it, so I saw the song making process from beginning to actually at the end of the day, and I'm watching the process as they create the master for the song, and yet AI did that in how many minutes?
Yeah.
Well, this is weeks in the process of creating a song, and AI created a song just like it in minutes.
Right. I think those two songs, each song took like 20 or 30 secones.
Oh my gosh.
It's just crazy.
That's frightening. That's frightening. You have to send me those songs. I got to let the wife listen to those songs.
I've got them. So there's your Facebook page for anybody that, you know, I guess I don't know, you're a professional now. Are you allowed to have more? Remember when they used to limit how many you could have?
No. So what happens now is that I've actually got it locked down, and Facebook actually reminded me of this today. I actually locked down my social media today, a year ago, when I think I crossed like the 60,000 mark.
Right.
Where every post previous to that point was friends only. So I can still have Facebook friends. And I have a very strict rule that if we've never met in real life, we're not going to be Facebook friends. You need to witness this in person first before you accept my friend request, because I mean, you know,
because then they might not send you a friend request.
Exactly right. And and I usually tell them, I'm probably the one that's going to send it to you, and you'll be the one that gets to, you know, decline it if you want to. But there is the friends limit. You can only have up to 5,000 Facebook friends. The number of followers you can have is unlimited. So people can come and they can follow your page, or they can like when somebody sends me a friend request, they immediately start following me, but you have the option on my page to just follow me without sending me a friend request. And you know, I get a couple hundred a day now, but I've been working with a couple of other creators who do videos like mine, and we've been getting kind of shadow banned by the AI, believe it or not, where we're losing an almost equal amount of followers to gaining, which hadn't happened before. And it only started happening at the end of the year last year. So we're thinking there was some type of algorithm that was introduced to kind of balance things out. So for every 100 followers I get, I end up losing 50 for some reason. It's not that you've seen my content. I'm not doing anything controversial.
Right. No.
At all. So I quit doing that years ago. It wasn't worth the argument in the fight. You're never going to win a fight. You're never going to win a comment war ever. No. So don't do it.
No. And there's your YouTube page.
Yeah, I did. Thank you for doing that. I did try to, at the suggestion of a friend here, I tried to get all of my socials to where if you're looking for a username, it's going to be the Jeffrey R. Thomas. And of course, I spell my name very uniquely. But I try to get them all the same because I used to have my Instagram used to be the Shadow. And, now that the Shadow's not the thing that took off like I wanted it to, I'm having to sell my own name. And lo and behold, use that word, my own brand. Oh, I hate that word. I hate that word. But here we are. I have merch. I have fans.
Yeah, I actually saw that you had a merchandise page. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, I'm looking at hats right now because I want my own hat logo and everything. And I think hats do a little bit better than like t-shirts do. I've done a few t-shirt giveaways, and I may have some at this year's Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival. I don't have like a vendor table at OBC this year. The wife and I are planning to go to the Ohio Bigfoot Conference this year to finally just go and reconnect with friends again.
Right.
And I think we talked about this prior to the show. I don't think I'm giving away any deep secrets, but I will be the master of ceremonies for the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Conference in August. It's the first weekend in August in Logan, Ohio. I've accepted that. I started with B Mills doing the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Conference a couple years ago, and we expected maybe 1,000 people over the weekend max.
I heard.
We were like, okay, it will be fine if we get 1,000 people to show up to this festival. That year, 11,000 people showed up. Last year, we're like, well, maybe we'll get 11,000 again. No, 42,000 people showed up last year over the course of 2 days. Absolutely insane. And this year, she's got it different where the speakers are all on Saturday. So anybody that comes, it'll be a Friday, Saturday event, but anybody that comes Friday will be able to get to see the speakers and talk with them and everything. And then the speakers will be limited to just doing their talks on Saturday. So give them a lot more freedom. They don't have to worry about speaking twice. They can sell a lot more product and be with the fans a lot more. And I get to go around and schmooze the people of Logan, Ohio, and everybody that showed up.
And that's what people like. The people like to be able to meet these people one-on-one, just, hey, shake their hand, Dr. Meldrum, for some people, that's like, oh my, Jeff Meldrum.
Right. And for people that are really into the Bigfoot world, when you're meeting somebody like that, when you're meeting the celebrity, especially when they have as many accolades as Dr. Jeff Meldrum has, it's literally like meeting one of your heroes.
Right.
And he's so down to earth too. I love the fact that I'm glad he's back on the mend. I'm glad he's healthy. I'm glad he's going to be back doing more things. And hopefully I get to see him this year and have a chat. And he's so down to earth. There's a funny story about Jeff Meldrum. I think it was at Creature Weekend one year where it was Dr. John Mayanzinski and Jeff Meldrum were two of the guest speakers at Creature Weekend one year. And it was just kind of a break in between speakers. And Dr. Mayanzinski and he were talking in the conference room. And I just happened to, I think I left something in there. I just happened to walk by and listen to their conversation. These two men were speaking English words. I have no clue what they said. These were two PhDs talking to one another in a language. The most I could surmise what they were is that I think Dr. Meldrum was talking to Mayanzinski about how his colleagues felt about what he does as a hobby and how he was perceived on campus. But the words they were using were not the words you and I are using, Billy. So I love the fact that he can then dumb it down for us and have a normal human conversation with you and talk to you about without being too erudite, without talking over your head. He can literally speak the language of PhD and the language of everyday Americans and the layman. And I adore that about him.
Yep. Yeah. And, when you get him away from the scene, he's no different than the rest of us. He'll sit there and talk it up. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a human being. I think one of the first times I met him might have been at the same Creature Weekend. We had breakfast on the Monday. That's the big secret about any of the Ohio conferences. Always stay a day extra in case the speaker is leaving that next day, because then you get to have very close, unique time with them. I'm literally having breakfast with Dr. Meldrum and talking about just his diet, as you would. You're talking about like he was taking control of his health and his diet. And I think at the time it was his girlfriend, who is now his wife, who was just literally like pushing him to get healthy and it's just a normal everyday conversation with this guy who is one of the premier educated. I lost my train of thought, Billy. It's just late. You got me out at 9 o'clock. And
I mean, he's in his groove in this. I mean, it's quite simple. He can talk about it for hours, but as long as he's talking to us plain people, we're okay.
Right. Whereas, like if you talk with Cliff Barrickman every now and then, or even my good friend Matt Pruitt, if you talk with him, Matt's going to throw a word out there. It's a 5-syllable word you've never heard in your entire life before. He can talk to you like in plain English, but he can also, if you've ever heard his speech, I love watching Matt Pruitt and Cliff speak, because I watch from the stage and I watch the faces of the audience when they start talking all these big words that come out, and the audience is literally like, and no clue what he just said.
I think that's his way of feeling the crowd to see if there's any PhDs in the audience. It looks
right. If all of a sudden he uses a word like that and somebody perks up, he's like, "We got one. I'll see him after."
Yeah, I tell you, man, there's been some great speakers at some of these events. That's like. So, I remember we had Mayansky, we had Meldrum. I remember that's when I brought one of my best friends, Tom Lancaster, because, he's a big hydrogeologist. So they could kind of talk on the same terms too.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is in the profession that I do, whenever I would have Tom working with me and we'd go to a homeowner and try to explain to them geology, they would all just look at me. Because Tom is talking about all these different rocks and formations, and they're just like, help.
Can you translate, please? I don't know what he just said. I think that Creature Weekend where Meldrum was there, Mayansky was there, Bill Munns was there. That was that was the best nerd conference I've ever been to. And I keep telling folks, because at that conference, Meldrum he actually threw a lot of jokes into his speech. He was hilarious. It was not dry at all. It was not professorial or anything like that. He threw a lot of jokes into it. But then Bill Munn's speech, who else was at that? That's been so many years ago. I wish Bruce would. You're going to look it up for me.
I'm going to look it up because I have it right here.
That was one of those where, OBC, the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, was the party conference where everybody went to catch up with their friends and party. And Creature Weekend was the one where everybody went to really nerd out. If you wanted the Bigfoot information, if you wanted to really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, that was the conference you went to.
Yep. So 2012, that was the first one. And that was when he brought in Todd Neese.
Okay.
Dana Holyfield Evans.
Okay.
Linda Godfrey. Remember Linda? Linda Godfrey? Yeah. And then, of course, some guy by the name of Billy.
Oh, who's that?
And then, I don't know. He's a has-been. And then, and Doug Waller. So that was the first one. So the one that we're talking about was, is this the one? Maybe it wasn't. Because 2013, that was Pat Spain.
Remember that? I was there.
And David Paulides.
Okay.
Scott Nelson.
That had Scott Nelson, because I had dinner with Scott
and Ron Moorhead.
And Ron Moorhead.
Okay, so it must have been 14. Yeah. So 2014, John Mayansky, Bill Munns, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and Tim Stover from Ohio.
Tim Stover. Oh, I miss that dude.
Yep.
Gosh, that's some old names. That's some old names I hadn't seen in forever.
Yep. And then 2015,
that was the
we
Mountain
had
Monsters year.
The Mountain Monsters, yep. And that was when Trapper was still here with us.
Yep. I went to Trapper's house
I know. Yeah, a bunch of you went over there.
With Trapper's house that night.
That was a cool cabin.
He hand-built that house.
Yeah.
He built that house himself. And when you walked into it, you wouldn't think that it was like a cabin that was hand-built.
Right.
It was, it was a beautiful home.
Right. So let's see, who else did we have? We had Nick Redfern, we had Chad Armit, and Bill Brock.
That's right.
Yep. Let's see. That was, man, this is bringing back memories. Let's see, 2016, we had Ken Gerhard.
Good guy.
Ron Moorhead came back. We had Ron Murphy. And that was all. We only had the 3 speakers that year.
That was the one that they tried to do it in the fall.
Yeah, exactly.
In the autumn.
Yeah, and then 17 we had Adam Davies. Now that was a treat.
I got to meet him a few years ago at Crypticon. We had known each other online, and he's a treat.
Yeah.
I've never laughed that hard in a human being's presence in my life. That man loves to laugh. He loves to tell jokes. My cheeks hurt from being in his presence. His laugh is so infectious, but he has this giant laugh, and he just has this zest. So I look forward to any event where I go where Adam Davis is there.
No, I know. Didn't he move back to UK?
I'm not sure because I haven't seen him online in a long time. He was in Tennessee for a bit because he was in Ohio, and then he moved down to Tennessee, and he's kind of, that kind of makes me think I should look into him a little bit and see what's going on with him, because he was in Tennessee for a little bit. He was in San Diego for the longest time.
Right.
Was Trapper's house more fancy than Bruce's tent? Nothing is more fancy than Bruce Harrington's tent. Nothing on this planet is more fancy than that man camps.
I'm telling y'all, the tent would put your house to shame. I'm sorry.
It takes him a while to blow up the spiral staircase.
It does.
But when you get to the library and the bar with the 12-year-old scotch, it's well worth it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That way you get to experience the 85-inch theater screen that he uses for his computer monitor.
Exactly right. I don't know how he gets the surround sound out of the cardboard, because it's all lightweight, so he can carry it. But he's got 7.1 surround sound in there.
Yep.
We got to see a first pressing of Jurassic World at one of the expositions, I think. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I called him a couple weeks ago. I said, Bruce, you want to bring the show back?
He's
like, no, nobody wants to listen to me. He goes, nobody wants to hear my voice. I don't have nothing to say. They don't want to hear me. So I've already had all kinds of comments come in. Tell Bruce to come back. I'm like, y'all are going to have to tell him.
Bruce, I know you're sniping this show. I know you're secretly watching this show. You need to come back on. You want to talk about another voice. Adam Davis has an infectious laugh, but Bruce's laugh will make you feel good about life. When he tells a joke, it may not even be a funny joke, but his laugh is so big, you will just cry with tears laughing at it.
Exactly.
That guy, he's just the biggest laugh and the most jokes. He loves steak.
Yeah.
His
He
tent
definitely
is
loves steak.
His tent is absolutely amazing.
I can reassure you that every time we went on a motorcycle mystery tour, I'm sure you heard about them.
I did.
Every time we went on a mystery tour on the motorcycles, we would have to stop at a steakhouse. And, he's tried them all over the country, so he knows where they're at. And we stopped at this one place. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it was called King's. And I think it was up in New York somewhere. And when they bring a prime rib out, it doesn't even fit on the plate. It's hanging off.
It's the old 96er from the Great Outdoors. It's literally John Candy trying to win a free T-shirt with the old 96er, and he will eat every last bite.
Every bite. Every bite. I tell you, we had some really good times, though. I mean, like I say, if you wanted some good food, you ride around with Bruce, and you're going to know where every single place is. He took us to this place down there near you, and I believe that it was in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
And it was like this restaurant in like this row home kind of thing where it had like 3 levels, and you had to stand outside. We stood outside for 2 hours waiting to get in this place. And then we get in there, and all the chairs have an embroidered plate on it to tell you what famous person sat in that chair that you're sitting in.
Only Bruce.
Hey,
only Bruce.
I had a filet mignon that night, and I asked them why they brought me the steak knife.
Because it didn't need it.
I didn't need it.
Just take your fork and just, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yep. Bruce, get back on the show. Bruce,
that's right.
Staring,
we all need to talk about,
Bruce.
Here it is, 9:40. We need to talk about food late time food.
Yeah, that's the worst time to talk about it because I'm going to get up and go eat.
Exactly. And then go lay in the bed, and then it just stays there, right?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I tell you.
What you got going on this year, Billy? Besides bringing the radio show back, what you got going on? You gonna start making?
I'm gonna keep going with this. We'll keep this going. It's. I'm not making any promises, but it is possible that I will show up in an event.
Okay.
So I'm got to play it by ear. So.
Play it softly and play it by ear, and
that's right.
Because you haven't been to events in a few years, they're quite different.
They are, I'm sure.
But the core group of people are still kind of in the fringes. So there is that connection a little bit, but they are vastly different than even when I started 14 years ago. Some of the pictures that you had in your first promo video of, I never got to meet Indy Pickett, but Bob Coyne and Fat Abe, who's not fat anymore, and just the first Ohio Bigfoot conference that I went to, I mean maybe 100 people total hanging out.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe. And everybody went to the handicap picnic area and hung out at night. Right. Everybody knew everybody, and everybody already knew even though it was the first time I had met any of them, they already knew who I was just from the Blog Talk radio shows.
Yeah. Right.
I was welcomed into the fold almost immediately. And then you just flash forward a few years later, and it's shoulder to shoulder, and the lodge is shaking, and there's too many folks, and you're claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And
that's what I've heard. I've heard that it's gotten to the point where they can't fit everybody in the room.
Yeah, they can't. So they've got an overflow room at OBC, and then you go forward, just to the festival that I've been a part of, the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival. There was a part where I had my little hoverboard, and so that was the way I would get around town fast. If I needed to go to the hotel or I needed to go here, check out this or that, instead of walking, I would just get on the hoverboard and go. And there was a point where I was stuck. I was stuck in a street that was sidewalk, full street, people shoulder to shoulder as far as I could see.
Right.
And completely amazing to me, because if you think about just 10, 15 years ago, if you said the word Bigfoot in a public forum in any way, you got laughed at. And now they're genuinely coming from everywhere to check it out. Everywhere to check it out.
Yeah. So now Hocking Hills, is it similar to Mothman? Like when they have a speaker event, Mothman has that theater.
Yes.
Where everybody goes.
The theater has been condemned, so we will no longer be speaking in the theater at Mothman. I was actually asked to speak at Mothman. I think the last year they were allowed in the theater. It's officially been human beings cannot walk into the premise. How we all don't have some form of strange, rare alien cancer, I will never know.
Right.
Because that place was quite unique. Jeff, if you're watching,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking you, Jeff. If you're watching, please invite me back. But Hocking Hills is a lot like it. It's a street festival set up on the main drag of Logan, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And in the historic theater that they're renovating, and the original idea was to generate funds to help restore this theater there.
Yeah.
We would go to the second floor, and maybe 200-300 people max in the room that would pay to see the people speak. But you could also go see them on the street at the festival at any time. Yeah. And people came. I mean, they had traffic problems, they had parking problems. And now I'm thinking, well, if they get the theater renovated enough, we can take a lot more people in to see speakers, which will make the ticket prices a lot smaller because we can fit so many more people. But it's not going to stop the people from coming out into the street. And it's very much like Mothman. It even rivaled Mothman this last year as to the numbers, because I went to both events. I was the master of ceremonies at Hocking Hills, and I went to Mothman in September. And about a similar number of people that showed up to both. And Mothman just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah.
There's people that show up to Mothman have no idea that there's even people speaking.
Right. I enjoyed staying at the Lowe's Hotel.
Oh God, nobody enjoys staying at the Lowe's Hotel. Quit lying.
Come on, Jeff. That place is just cool. You know, you feel like you're walking into the Hotel The Shining.
And that's why I wouldn't sleep there at night, Billy. I would never sleep in that place at night. I've heard like the hotel rooms is like the owner, he just went out and found this really random cup, and he just sets it on the nightstand right next to you. And every room is completely unique. Every room is designed with just whatever he found to fill up the hotel. And it's just as haunted as it can get. No, I'm not staying there.
And it has the old spring bed, so you get on the bed. It's like rink.
Yeah, no, don't jump on the bed. It will launch you right out the window.
Yeah, we did have some good times there, though. It was fun.
It was the problem they're having this with the Hocking Hills is lodging too. You know, because at least at Mothman, they've got right across the river in Gallipolis. There's 2 big hotels. And there's lots of Airbnbs in the area. So people are actually getting more Airbnbs in Logan, Ohio for the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival, because the amount of hotels they have there are not enough to accommodate people to stay for 2 days. So you get a lot of day trippers that come out. I had, as oddly as enough as it is for me to even say, is I had a lot of day trippers coming up to 4 and 5 hour drives just to meet me. Wow. Having no interest in Bigfoot whatsoever. They just saw me on Facebook and wanted to come meet me and would drive anywhere from 4 to 5 hours just to meet me, and had to, immediately leave to go everywhere else they were going because there was no place to stay. And it probably took them an hour walk just to get to me from where they had to park. So it's a good thing, but that's a bad thing.
That's the fun thing too, is just walking. I mean, you walk around and you see everything, people selling gadgets that you don't need.
Oh yeah, the vendor area, just walking the vendor area, because you do so many of these things, you end up becoming friends with a lot of the vendors, and so you go and you check in on them. How are you doing? You doing all right? Your sales looking good? But then right next to them, there's somebody selling just the oddest things, and so it's just, it doesn't matter. You could go to any of the conferences and festivals. It doesn't matter what it's about. It could be a UFO festival. Somebody's going to be there selling some t-shirt that you find hilarious, or some trinket you can't live without. Somebody's going to be there with a whole collection of retro GI Joe toys, and I thought this was a ghost conference. Well, no, they're always going to be that way.
Well, we were talking about AI and how creepy AI is. Now these guys have these new printers, 3D printers. They can make anything now.
They can make anything with a 3D printer. They can make anything. I think one of the vendor friends I had actually had 3D printed those the death horns. They're shaped like skulls, and you blow into them. And no, come on, I'm surprised the 3D printer didn't catch fire when you were trying to print that thing
no
out.
kidding.
It's so wrong.
Yeah, lots and lots of things have changed.
Yeah, for the good, for the bad, but you got to roll with it.
Yep.
The one thing that hasn't changed is just getting in the woods and spending time in nature. Is going out. The thing that changed the most, I think, is that we used to call them armchair researchers, the guys that never went out into the woods. There's a lot more of those now. Anywhere from armchair researchers to armchair warriors in whatever field it is. But in Bigfoot, so much so, there's so few people. But the benefit to old salts like you and I, Billy, is that when we go out in the woods, we can almost guarantee there's nobody else researching our area.
All right.
Because they're all at home online arguing with people on a keyboard. They're not out in the woods doing the actual research and doing the looking. So you can always be assured of a peaceful day in the woods. And what I tell folks is that even the worst day Bigfooting is better than any day at work, because you're just surrounded by the best of what Mother Nature has to offer.
Right. Yeah, Steve, that would be a little creepy.
I've seen those skull rocks for fire pits, and the fire burns through the skulls.
Through the eyeballs.
Through the eyeballs and the mouth and everything. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I tell you. All right. What was this?
Okay, so Graz comes up and says, can you talk John Kirk to come on Billy's show? I have talked to John Kirk about Hocking Hills. So I help B out every now and then if she doesn't have a direct connection to somebody. And John is retired from Bigfooting.
Yep.
He's
kind of like done. We've been for the last, I disappeared for like 8 years.
Yeah, but he's living his best life. So don't think he's actually missing anything. John is still a very good friend of mine. I miss him dearly because I miss seeing him at the events where we get to hang out and catch up. But we still do communicate, and he is out there just enjoying life the way it is supposed to be. And that's the one thing that a lot of people forget about when they're in the field of research, is they get so involved they forget to enjoy life.
Yeah. Yes, I know, Chase. I know that's JC.
Okay.
But I haven't been anywhere, Grasshopper, since COVID. I just haven't. I haven't been anywhere. I haven't taken a vacation since COVID.
Oh my God. Take the vacation, Billy. You gotta.
Well, first of all, every person that I hear about that goes on a cruise ship comes back sick. No, I haven't heard anybody that has ever come back not sick.
Don't go on a cruise.
I'm getting on that.
Don't go on a cruise. Don't go to a theme park. Go to a national park. Just pick a national park. Pick the most obscure hotel, not the main hotel, because that's where all the diseases are. No,
right.
Or get an Airbnb and just go out in the middle of nowhere and find nature. No, don't go on a cruise ship. I think the last cruise I did, I worked a rock cruise back in 2012. And yeah, I got sick. It was 11 days on the boat. And I got sick. No matter how well you protect yourself, you're going to get sick. They are just bacteria factories, those cruise ships.
Yeah. Yes, I have, Grasshopper. I met him at the up in Washington when we had that Yakima, the Bigfoot Yakima roundup.
So Thomas just posted today, because I follow him on Facebook, that he's in Canada. He's in BC, and Canada is really limiting the amount of things that people can do media-wise online.
Yeah.
So he can't post links to media or anything like that. Yeah. So even if you invite him on the show, even if he accepts, I don't know if without a VPN, I don't know if he'll be able to even get onto StreamYard.
Yeah, I doubt he will, honestly, because he can't even put out an ad.
No, he would be such a great guest. He would be so good on the show.
Absolutely.
I'd sit there watching, just smoke his pipe for the whole hour. Just
oh man.
But yeah, he's been locked down.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the whole story is there as to why they're having those issues, but unless somebody else knows what's going on, I don't understand it.
That's what I call above my pay grade. And
right.
if it's above my pay grade, I am not interested in finding out any more about it.
But no, we've had a few suggestions, grasshoppers. I'm working on that, and I'm trying to find some folks that we never did get a chance to get on the old show. So I'm working kind of behind the scenes trying to get some of those folks. So I still have their numbers, and they still answer them.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I'll end up texting somebody out of the blue, just with a random question, and there they are. It's still their number.
Yeah.
15 years later, it's still their number.
Yep.
I can tell you this though: don't ever give Wild Bill your telephone number. That's a huge mistake.
No. I'm not going to do that. I gave a guy my phone number one time. Worst mistake I ever made. That dude would call me every couple hours.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, look, I do have a regular daytime job. I'm not hunting Bigfoot 24/7.
And I'm not sitting here anticipating your call 24/7. Oh boy, I hope he calls.
Yeah.
No, I have stuff to do. It doesn't involve you. I know the type. I'm very selective about who I give my number out to.
Absolutely have to be. So all right, when did you say Hocking Hills was this year?
Hocking Hills, I want to say that it's the weekend of August 5th. It's always the first weekend in August, just like Mothman is the third weekend in September.
Okay. Got it.
So OBC is the first weekend in May. And tentatively, as far as appearances for me, I will be at OBC. I'm not speaking or anything, not selling anything, but I will actually physically be at OBC. That's the plan.
Okay.
Provided nothing comes up, we're reserved. We're ready to go at OBC this year. I will be the MC at Hocking Hills, and that's the first weekend in August. And the plan is to be at Mothman. And then if any others, wink, wink, come my way and offer a gig, I will be glad to talk to you about that, because I love going to the events. I hate missing out on all of them. But, walking away from a high-paying career like I did, I have to be very selective. So,
yeah. I think I know who the Facebook user is, but trust me, it's not you, because I know who this is. So that's all I got to say, because this person is not on Facebook, so don't have to worry about that. So. All right. So do you have any trips planned, Jeff? Any exciting, like, are you going out in the woods somewhere? Or?
No, because I messed around and bought a lake house a couple of years ago. Yeah. And so all the trips that we have, like anything that we would do to go to get away from the grind of everything, we now have a lake house. Mm-hmm. And so our weekends and any trips, there's times where my wife, she's got like 5 weeks of vacation a year, and she's just like, I just want to go and veg out at the lake house for a week and unplug, no Wi-Fi, no cable, no TV, just listen to the birds and the sound of the woods and the water at the dock. Yeah. And believe it or not, I mean, I've tried to do a little bit of Bigfooting there, but it's such a heavily hunted area. I'm not seeing a lot of sign. Where our lake house is, there have been some spots of black bear in the area, but I've yet to see any evidence of black bear. We definitely have coyotes and foxes and deer. We definitely have the resources available there for Sasquatch to subsist if they so chose. But from what I'm seeing there, they don't so choose. And I've been out late at night. I've listened to the calls. I've made a couple calls in the woods and wood knocks. There's nothing like that. It's just nothing but peace and quiet up there. And that ends up being our restful retreat. So anytime that we would sit there and say, well, let's go here. No, we've got a lake house that we go to, and that's where we go to recharge the batteries.
Yep. And that's pretty much my regular home now. We moved up into the mountains. So my property is bordered by Shenandoah National Park.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
Skyline Drive, I can, walk out of the front door and be up on the Appalachian Trail in 10 minutes.
Beautiful.
So all woods. So, I've got camera system set up. Hey, I can research right here from the house.
Right from your own back porch. Why would I drive
That's right.
5 hours into the mud?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got plenty of places here and I miss going up there sometimes, but I don't miss the unexpected weather that pops up out of nowhere.
Right.
There's no escaping the mud and water sometimes. Even if you have the best gear in the world, it's still just kind of miserable sitting there listening to the rain for 10 hours, freezing to death.
Now, do you still have a Jeep?
I do still have the Jeep.
And
we have three. I have 3 Jeeps now, and I'm about to have 4. So, but I still have my Jeep, and I'm never getting rid of that thing because there's 3 words that describe that Jeep that are the best thing about it. It's paid for. And so I'm gonna drive it till the wheels fall off. Quite literally. Nothing on the dash works. I actually gauge my speed by using an old-time Garmin GPS. And I'm literally going to keep driving that thing until it chugs its last breath. But as long as the 4-wheel drive works, I'm fine with it. I've got my rooftop tent for it, so whenever we go anywhere, I've got the condo that sits on top where I can stay out of the mud and away from the bear. Which, how are the black bear up there where you're at? Because we're crawling with them down here.
We got a lot. I've got a lot of surveillance video of bear. And they seem to like to break my fence. So
for no reason whatsoever than to just break it.
They know that there's trash cans up there, but they can't get over there because the fence is too lightweight. They know that it will not hold their weight, but they still try. And I've got a video I put up not too long ago. It's on my YouTube channel where this thing, huge paws with claws are like a couple, 2 or 3 inches. And you can just see him. He'll grab it, snap, just to do it. Just so that he can look over there and sniff it. But he can't get over there.
He can't get over there.
Can't get over there.
Yeah.
So, they like to tear stuff up. So.
Yeah, and that's the one.
Anyway.
The last time I was in the woods, I think for a BFRO expedition, I was actually helping out with a BFRO expedition, and I had a juvenile yearling bear kept me awake all night. I had taken out my hammock, and I was looking so forward to sleeping in my hammock all night, and I woke up in the middle of the night, way across in the distance. There were flashlights going everywhere, and all of a sudden the flashlight zoned in, and so I pulled out my flashlight and looked. There's a bear staring at me around a tree, just bobbing around a tree. So like, crap, I got to sleep in the Jeep. I didn't set up a tent or nothing. I slept in my driver's seat, and this bear every 15 minutes jumped on the rack on the back of my Jeep to check me out all night long.
He thought you was going to give you something to eat.
I smelled everything that was in the Jeep, but he couldn't get in, and he would just jump up and look in, and he would take off. And he actually went to another camper's cooler, pulled out a bag of frozen biscuits. It was a bag of 50 frozen biscuits. Pulled out each one, took one bite from it, threw it away, pulled out another one, took one bite. 50 biscuits with one bite took out of it. This bear, I don't know that I've been in the woods since that bear. I was like, this is the way it's going to be from now on. I would rather have rocks thrown at me by a Sasquatch than to deal with a bear.
Yeah, no kidding.
Again.
They can definitely cause some damage. Well,
really? We've taken up an hour.
We have already been on here for an hour. So, is there anything you want to tell us? Any final thoughts? Any final comments?
If I have any final comments, and it's usually what I tell when I give a speech at a Bigfooting conference, is don't take yourself too seriously. If you're not having fun in this research, if it's not fulfilling to you in any way, you're doing the wrong thing. If you're over serious about everything that you do, if you need a power struggle or anything like that, you're in the wrong field of research. Stop, smell the roses, take a look around you and realize if you're out doing research, what you're a part of. If you're just doing the conferences, realize that you're a part of a very unique, special group of people who are like-minded as you. Some of the best friends I have on this planet I have made since I entered into the Bigfoot community, and some of the worst enemies too. So
right.
Caveat emptor,
You're not
buyer
alone.
beware. Absolutely.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Billy.
I'm going to ask you to, if you have time, if you can just hold on until after I close it out, and then we'll chat for just a few minutes.
All right.
So,
night, everybody.
Again, Jeffrey Thomas, we had him up there a while ago. Let me put these back up here. There's the Facebook page, and there is the YouTube page. Check him out. I promise you will not get enough laughs off of the reels that he puts up. So plenty of laughs. And one last thought. The reason I like the one with the rock song done by the AI with the voices.
Yes, sir.
Actually didn't have anything to do with the music. It was what you did in the video with your little friend back there.
I don't have him in here, otherwise I would, but I've got a life-size Grogu that I kind of popped up into the picture out of nowhere and everything. It's just
I was laughing, it floored me. So hilarious. So anyway, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for having me, Billy.
And hope everybody will tune in next Monday night, and we'll have another great guest, and look forward to that. So good night, everybody.